I guess that is a fantastic play style to counter out this early game aggression that HQ Esports Club like to have. And so we are into maybe the final game of this best of 5 series for HQ Esports Club is in the blue team and Taipei Snipers on the purple side. And just a reminder for all you viewers out there, if you want to find any more player profiles, match statistics, or view these videos on demands, do head down to gpl.garena.com, gpl.garena.com for more information as we now look at the bans here. Vi, Riven, and Elise banned out for HQ Esports Club and for Taipei Snipers, Flash, Olaf, and Annie.
Yeah, so it's going to be a slightly different ban pick phase coming out from both teams. What HQ wants to do at this point of time, whoa, the picks are coming in extremely fast, but let's talk about the bans a little bit. What HQ wants to do is kind of deny Oriel from the Riven and deny wins from Elise. He's been playing a fantastic Elise. A lot of people have given him flack for his Elise in the past, but he's kind of shored up his mistakes and just gone extremely well with the picks coming in to the game in itself. Azubu Taipei Snipers, nothing much to talk about the bans in itself because very standard for this game. They've constantly been banning Trash and Olaf whenever they're on the purple side, and if HQ didn't ban out any, they take out the ban in itself.
Right, and I really love this respect that they are giving over to Green Tea because for most parts, HQ Esports Club, they have been relying on those openings that Green Tea often create for them with that Thresh pick, and just taking that away for 3 games straight, I think that will work out for them this far, but...
They're not going to allow Green Tea to get his Trash at all. If they do AHQ, that bottom lane of Garnet Devil Green Tea, in both game number 1 and game number 2, has been actually shut down pretty hard. And the fact that Green Tea is not playing Trash at all, that just kind of shows that, it may just be one of his champions of choice, and he doesn't really do all too well on any other champion at this point of time.
Right, so looking at HQ Esports Club now, they have secured 2 of the beefiest champions in the league so far. They have that Dr. Mundo on their own end, so this time around they will be having that beefy champion on their own end, and Shyvana as well. And looking at what Taipei Snipers they want to pick up, they have so far a very, very mobile lineup. They do have that Silver Wave on the hunt, and then you do have Mistake definitely going to be playing that support Karma. We have seen that happen before and, just speed things up. And given his item choices as well, he likes to rush that, that...
Whoa.
What? Are we going to see?
We are going to see a Rumble, whether it's in the mid lane or top lane, not very sure, but Rumble has been locked in for the side of Azubu Taipei Snipers. So Azubu Taipei Snipers feeling extremely confident coming into game number 3, locks in something different for either Oriel or Zonda. We classically see Rumble go up in the top lane, and I feel that Rumble can actually kind of duel it out against either Shyvana or Mundo. Does have that early game aggression coming into the lane itself.
Right, so it's almost like reminiscence of Season 2 days. I always like to bring it back into the past because the thing about Zonda is that, he has been around in the scene for a while now, and he started off playing for the Taipei Assassins kind of like in training, and then eventually when the sister team Snipers got started up, then he stepped up to the top laner, and we are going to see the LeBlanc.
There we have it. The LeBlanc pick coming in from Oriel, so it is going to be Rumble in the top, and Oriel's going to play that LeBlanc in the mid lane. Mr. Albis is the one that's being fielded now for this game instead of Westdoor. We've kind of said that Mr. Albis kind of plays very passively in lane, and picking up the LeBlanc against Mr. Albis on the Gragas itself is just going to kind of, it may just be reminiscent of what happened Riven up against Orianna, because Oriel just went completely ham onto Mr. Albis, crushed him in lane without the help of the jungler assistance too much.
Right, it's almost like confidence on the side of Oriel because for the most part, when we see a LeBlanc in the mid lane, it just goes to show the mid laner is confident. He knows that he can, outlane his opponent and then eventually be that assassin of choice. And I think in the most parts, especially in the recent patches, when we see, we don't really see a lot of assassins in the game anymore in the competitive scene. LeBlanc is the only one that kind of just stands out against the rest because of the changes that happened to her a couple of patches back.
Which Mimic.
Yeah, the Mimic, and not only that, a lot of her strengths from the early stages have been somewhat shifted over to the mid-game stage, so she doesn't fall off too badly now. But, nevertheless, still a very unique pick in the Garena Premier League, I would say. And, that Rumble pick as well, definitely something that we have not seen in the longest of times. We have seen that once in the semi-final stages in one of the games in the Best of 5 series, but nevertheless, still a pretty rare pick. And I don't know, it can work out for them. It might be a double-edged sword. If, HQ Esports Club, they play the game well, hopefully they might be able to pick this up for themselves and then subsequently, try to push that into a game number 5. But nevertheless, game number 3 for this one, HQ Esports Club gonna start things up on the blue side and Taipei Snipers on the purple team. And what do you think of this level 1 engage? We have seen time and time again, Taipei Snipers, they are the one. They like to go in for level 1 invade. And game number 2, that 2-minute blue buff dance, man. Nothing to say for that.
I have nothing to say for that 2-minute dance either. We'll see if HQ and the Azubu Taipei Snipers decide to dance for a buff once more. And like you kind of moused over there, Mistake deciding to pick up the the Spell Thief's Edge instead of the Ancient Coin coming in for his gold generation item start.
Right, it's a very surprising choice indeed because for the most part, he often likes to go for that Talisman of Ascension early. So I guess he favors that AP a little bit more. And, in the sense, Karma in herself, she does have somewhat like the Talisman of Ascension, active on herself because she can just go in with the shield and, mantra it up and then everyone will be able to move out of there. But I don't know whether I can agree with that. We have to see the game in order to find out because if you have that talisman, effectively you have 2 forms of boosting up your team. You can, start things off with that mantra shield and then, have that talisman to disengage if you need to, or if you need to chase someone, use that talisman to once again speed up your team. So let's see how this will pan out for themselves. And now we do see Prides, fighting it out with Zonda. In the meantime, Zonda actually taking a whole chunk of damage in that one because of the burnout. And Zonda might actually have to back off from the top lane.
Yeah, he may be forced out of his lane itself. We could see AHQ go for that invade onto the buff. And what we have here is that ward over the Golem Burst. So yes, we have Nas actually starting on the red buff of Azubu Taipei Snipers, and Azubu Taipei Snipers will start on the red buff of AHQ in itself. I like to point out something when you talk about speed boost because the amount of engage or disengage potential that Azubu Taipei Snipers have is that Mistake as well as God JJ both have innately some form of whole team speed boost coming in.
Whole team speed boost, wholesale as well in the market. And I kind of miss this vertical jungle process, in the 3.13 patch back like 1 or 2 months ago. This was so common, but ever since the 1.4 patch, we haven't been seeing all that often. And now the junglers, they are going for it. So they are going to trade buffs and they are going to have access to both buffs. And I guess in a sense, they both know for a fact that, they just want to secure those buffs for their junglers so that they can make the best out of it. But it's extremely beneficial for HQ especially because, Nes, he is very aggressive right from the start. So securing that 2 buffs for himself will make some impact.
Yeah, and look at what Nas is actually doing. He's probably going to shift up to the top lane. He hasn't really exposed himself just yet and just try to put as much poke as well as hurt under the turret where Zonda is actually sitting. What Wins is doing, like you said, not playing his usual style with all-out aggression into the mid or bot lane in itself, but instead mirroring the jungle from Nas. He will spot Nas with that Sonic Wave combo, doesn't go in for the Resonating Strike just yet. Both junglers have their double buff, and Oriel just being that bully all out in the lane against Mr. Albus.
Right, and we do see a lane swap once again from the Snipers. They recognize that they don't want to put a 1v1 match, sorry, not a 2v1 match out for Zonda because that's where he'll struggle a bit. And Mr. Albus actually putting on some good hurt onto Oriel there, and with that, Oriel will back off from the lane. And it does feel like HQ Esports Club, they want to make that 2v1 happen because the moment that they saw that Snipers went back, they decided to recall themselves and then move into those separate lanes once again. And because of that, I feel like Zonda will be losing out eventually because in this 2v1 matchup, definitely Prides on Shyvana will be able to do slightly better because having that burnout will be able to clear out waves. So whenever we have this kind of situations, once again it's up to the junglers because the junglers will be the one to break the threshold, make the make this stalemate into the difference here. And now we do see Mr. Albis getting jumped on here. Ignite gets popped onto him. This will definitely be death for Mr. Albis there. First blood will go to O'Reilly there, and that will get his LeBlanc rolling.
That was such a clean gang coming in by Wins as well as O'Reilly. What O'Reilly did there was actually try to get Mr. Albis down as low as possible, but before I can actually talk about that, Zonda may just get tower dived in this lane itself.
Right, and he has to flash out of the way of that one as well. Now he gets locked down with the Dazzle as well. Does feel like he will go down in the process, and the briefcase will finish the job for Ness there. So 1 kill for 1 kill, an eye for an eye, and it does feel like that 3-man gang just worked out so well for AHQ Esports Club. And that's the other thing that we didn't really mention out as well. In this 2v1 matchup, AHQ Esports Club are always the one to constantly go for this 3v1 dives, and having that work out for themselves, that just opens up so much room for themselves. And now Ness taking out that turret as well, we might see actually AHQ Esports Club come back into the top lane to regain control once more.
That's right, but I feel that the moment this minion wave actually pushes to the turret, Azubu Taipei snipers will be able to take out that turret. So AHQ recognizing this fact, they have the superior number advantage in the lane in itself, and they will go for the turret as well as the dragon pickup. Wins is there. Will Wins be able to go pull off that smite steal that he's also famous for? He goes into a resonating strike. Wins there, gets actually stunned up, and then goes in, and he will not survive that one. But Oriel has come in as well as the help from Zonda, and they actually managed to force AHQ away from the dragon.
Right, they did force AHQ away from Dragon, and you'll say 1-for-1 trade though, so I mean, that sense not too bad for HQ Esports Club, but they did blow a lot of effort, and because of that, their top lane turret will fall to the combination of Mistake and God JJ here. So once again, bringing their goal lead into their favor. But I would say this is a much better start for HQ Esports Club. They got somewhat the things that they wanted, even though they did not manage to take down the Dragon in the process. But they got the dives that they wanted. They got the, they start to assert dominance as they want to. And Ness as well, 1-1-1, finding the openings that he wanted to go for. So he has that Kindle Gem out himself already. So in a sense, he has a lot more health to move in and go for those deep turret dives that he likes to do.
Yeah, and I just like to point out the fact that we are 7 minutes into the game, and this is turning out to be a very different game tree from AHQ as well as the Azubu Taipei Snipers. What's happening here is that in games 1 and games number 2, the flow was always in Azubu Taipei Snipers' favor. In game number 3, however, I feel that the flow is kind of midway in between both teams. None of them are actually dictating what the other is doing at this point of time. So now we just have to wait for about the 11.5-minute mark to see if the Azubu Taipei Snipers decide to open the buffet line.
Right, but the dangerous part as well is that Oriel, he has been securing those kills for himself. 2-0-0 already and sitting on an advantage. And now we do see Wins getting caught out a little bit. Oriel will come to the aid of him. And there we go, explosive cast, not going to land on anyone there. So good disengage coming in from Taipei Snipers there, but now we do see HQ, they want to open up the buffet lines for themselves as they group up into the mid lane in a 4-man siege attempt. But Snipers, they do know, they say, this is my strategy, you're not going to use anything from my playbook here, and they will force HQ away from the mid lane turret.
Yeah, here we have the aggression coming in the bottom lane. Prides does have the ultimate up, and God JJ has no turret to run to, does pop on the hunt, and now Pride, let's see if he actually takes this one for himself.
It feels like Pride decides that it's too dangerous to try to dive into enemy lines there, and he will back off from there, but he did force the ultimate coming in from God JJ here, so he will be happy with that. And we start to see a little bit more discrepancy here. Pride's now finally finding that CS advantage that he wants, so it's very minimal at this point in time, but it's something to work with. And now Mr. Alba is securing that blue buff for himself, so he will be able to somewhat move and sustain against Oriel here. But speaking of which, now we do see Taipei Snipers, once again, like we mentioned, opening up the buffet lines. They want to take the dragon for themselves, and they will successfully do so with not much contention coming in from HQ Esports Club.
I don't know if the buffet lines are open just yet. They only managed to take one objective in their favor. They extend their gold lead slightly to about 1,000 gold. And Azubu Taipei Snipers at this point of time does have that slight gold advantage, but the momentum is not in their favor just yet. They haven't really built up the momentum to just start eating objectives so early in this game, and Mr. Albis is having a much better time in lane compared to the first 2 games.
Right, precisely. And so even though Oriel has secured that 2 kills for himself already, good job on Mr. Albis part to just maintain the CS, just equal. But the main discrepancy is coming from Garnet Devil as well as God JJ, because now Garnet Devil sits at a close to 15 CS disadvantage here, but Prides is maintaining his own ground very well here.
Okay, look what is happening across the map. What Azubu Taipei Snipers is doing is preparing for that buffet strategy. Oreo actually gets taken down very low here. He actually fails the... Whoa, he actually gets taken down there as the...
And the equalizer pops onto from Zonda as well. He will manage to block off Mr. Elvis' tracks here, and Wins will secure the kill with the kick to the face. And Taipei Snipers actually bring it back 1 kill apiece. And it's a very interesting movement for both teams here. It does feel like Prides will be down in the bottom lane with the support of Green Tea here, and a bruiser and support lineup not too common, I would like to say so myself.
Well, as those kills actually happen, we just saw Oreo kind of feel that distortion over the wall, allowing Mr. Elvis to pick up 1 kill for himself, but a counter kill from Zonda as well as Wins actually happened right here. Before I got interrupted by that kill in the mid lane, however, I just want to point out that Azubu Taipei Snipers have the lanes all pushing in their favor. This is the opportune time for them to open the buffet lines, but of course it kind of got hampered by that aggression in the mid lane itself by Mr. Elvis. What Oreo actually wanted to do, because he had both Wins and Zonda there, was to try to burst down Mr. Elvis as much as possible, get a kill, take the middle turret, while God JJ as well as Mistake are pushing down that bottom turret in itself.
And that's barely surviving with the aggression coming in from O'Real there. Just feel like Mr. Elvis wants to join in as well, and once again...
Chris, are you ready for the buffet lines to
I am
open?
ready for the buffet line. Taipei Snipers looks like a hungry bunch of people as they take out the bottom lane turret in a 4-man group up attempt here. Mr. Elvis not able to kind of move down in time to try to rescue that turret from being taken down. So, you see, this is just the buffet, man. They are just taking every single thing,
That's
even
right.
the Golem's camp as well.
So what Azubu Taipei Snipers really wanted to do was hope that AHQ decide to stay and defend that turret, pick up 2 kills down at that bot lane, pick up the turret and just get more objectives from that point onwards. HQ recognized that this was the point in which Azubu Taipei Snipers will start to group up, but we may see some aggression coming onto Prides.
Right, and now Prides taking a whole chunk of damage out of that one. The Ignite gets popped onto him as well. Will use the Dragon's Descent to fly away from danger, and he does manage to do so, but you know, in a sense, HQ Esports Club once again being forced away from their own turrets in the sense, and God JJ and Mistake, between the both of them, they have a lot of wave clear potential, they have a lot of siege potential as well, and it does feel like they will want to stick around to put on some hurt onto the inner turret at the bottom lane.
So earlier we saw Garnet Devil in the top lane actually freezing the lane, and like you pointed out earlier, he had a 20 CS advantage over God JJ, but the moment the buffet lines opened, it kind of punished that frozen lane up in the top. Garnet Devil was unable to make any sort of rotation, because the moment he made any sort of rotation, he's just going to lose out on a big minion wave. Azubu Taipei Snipers, recognizing that fact, they themselves opened their own buffet lines, make the rotation, get the... They didn't get any kills out of that one because AHQ just backed away, but they took the objectives. Dragon is going to be up in another 2 minutes time, and we should see some more rotations happening around that marker. If Azubu Taipei Snipers will be able to get a kill in the next minute or so, they will be able to take out a turret as well as probably pick up a dragon as another global objective.
I feel like all this talk about the buffet line will make me want to go for some supper later.
So that could be a plan later, Chris. We'll talk about it after this match.
So coming back into this game, Taipei Snipers still having a slight goal advantage like we talked about earlier, just maintaining control over all these objectives so far, and all these little advantages that they pick up constantly, slowly and steadily will propel them in terms of this turret advantage. And there we go now, Wins jumping into the fray, just getting collapsed onto by 5 members of the Taipei Snipers. He had no way to run. It was almost like a pentagon just surrounding him, that one guy over there, and you know, there was nothing left where he could run.
Well, like I said, within the next minute, Zulu Taipei Snipers will decide to group up, pick up a kill, and hopefully take objectives. They group up, pick up a kill, but AHQ Esports know this game plan coming in. They read the Azubu Taipei Snipers. They were not able to kind of mitigate that kill in the mid lane itself. Mr. Elvis does go down, but they are able to defend the mid turret.
Right, so once again, it's almost at this point, it does feel like HQ Esports Club might want to make something happen here, but the difference here is that for Snipers, they still have that equalizer to block out that zone, and they have a very mobile team composition as well. And for Oriel, he is starting to scale up to be this really scary mid laner. Has that DFG completed already, he should be able to pick anyone right off the bat, should he do it in a clean fashion.
That's right, Dragon will be spawning in 4, 3, 2, 1. And we should see a fight break out by the Azubu Taipei snipers very shortly. Oriel, being a LeBlanc player at this point of time, we want to flank around the back and just try to pick off either Garnet Devil or Mr. Albis in the back lines. And look at what he's trying to do here. Pops the distortion into Ethereal Chains, doesn't manage to really hit his combo onto Prides at this point of time. The next objective for contention is going to be the Dragon. Anyone that wins the fight here will be able to pick up the mid turret as well as the Dragon.
Right, this is effective AHQ Esports Club's first response to what Taipei Snipers are doing. And there we go now, Pride's getting caught with the chains there. He has to run away with the Dragon's Descent, but he will not run away from Oriel's Ignite there. And now Nate's getting caught out so low, and the Equalizer gets popped as well, so separating the team there. And Green Tea has to flash out of that one. So 4 members of the side of HQ Esports Club, they decide to back off from that one. Green Tea taking down low with the Ignite. He will not go down, but his life is just way too low for HQ Esports Club to make anything happen out of this challenge. And it does feel like, it's going to be Taipei Snipers Dragons to take with the Smite now landing on it. So propelling their goal lead to a close 3,000.
So Azubu Taipei Snipers won that fight against HQ Esports Club. They managed to pick up a kill onto Prides, who was sorely out of position all the way on the flank on the right side of the map. HQ did not bleed a turret, but they were taken down low enough, so much so that they were forced to back away. Azubu Taipei Snipers rotated to the Dragon, picked up the Dragon, and since HQ was so low and was forced to back away, they couldn't put any lane pressure into the mid lane or any other lane at all. So all in all, it's a win for the Azubu Taipei Snipers. The buffet lines are open, but they are not that feasting monster we saw in game 1 and game number 2. HQ knows how to control the flow of the game at this point of time, and as you can see, the gold difference isn't that big at the 16-minute mark. In games number 1 and game number 2, we actually saw that gold difference trying to spike all the way to about 4,000 to 5,000 gold at 16 minutes into the game. Right now, it's only at about 3,000 gold.
I'm looking at Oriel right now. He has that Mega Soul Stealer. Lots of confidence from Oriel here tonight as he is playing that Deceiver, and let's feel like
as much as I like Oriel in games 1 and games number 2, I must say he hasn't really been hitting his combos on the LeBlanc. So picking up the Magi Soul Stealer coming into this game number 3, in which they are at match point, may just show slightly a bit of overconfidence. Wins actually gets the pick onto Green Tea.
Right, and they got pincer right there as well. The explosive cast is there to try to save out Green Tea, but there's just too much damage and too much mobility on the side of Snipers to make something happen. And great catch in this in the jungle area for HQ Esports Club there to pick up one more kill for themselves. And it does feel like, once again, they are queuing up just to try to take out this turret by themselves. And now Prides and the entire team of HQ Esports Club, they are around the area to try to just counteract out this aggression. It does feel like they will be able to keep out the snipers from the bay here.
That's right. HQ Esports Club says, Azubu Taipei Snipers, buffet denied.
Buffet denied. It's maybe because they haven't really just filled up the food there, like everything just ran out.
Well, I don't know, the food's all right there, all the objectives are there for the taking, but HQ Esports Club says, no, our restaurant is closed, please stay away.
Right, so they have to wait until it starts opening up again before they want to go for something else. And now Oriel waiting around the corners. I think he wanted to go in for the snipe. He was thinking about it, but he saw 2 members there. They decided it's not the best call to go for.
Yeah, if Gragas doesn't have the explosive barrel, he will not be able to put any sort of displacement onto Oriel. He probably has that timer down since Oriel is a mid laner that is known to play Gragas quite well at this point of time. And it's very interesting because the free lane farm has just been going to Oriel a lot. He's been visiting that bottom lane. At this point of time, LeBlanc isn't the best split pusher. The distortion will not be able to clear minion waves that fast just yet. But what we have here is TPS playing a slow and measured game. And at the same time, I have to hand it to HQ. They know the kind of game that we're playing, that TPS likes to play, the buffet strategy as you call it, Chris. And what's happening here is that TPS just isn't able to pick up any objectives off the kills. They are able to, however, rotate, and HQ isn't able to respond fast enough. So TPS does pick up a turret for free, uncontested. Prides actually used that Dragon's Descent because I think Oriel was being a pain in the jungle.
Right, we actually did see Oriel almost going down to that combination that Mr. Albis was able to put out onto him. So, you know, in that sense, Taipei Snipers, they still have quite a fair bit of flexibility to play around with. So this game around, they are not able to, you know, pull off this fast push, fast objective taking strategy that they always like to do so. But in a sense, they can kind of take a playbook out of their sister team, Taipei Assassins, playbook here, because, you know, we saw in the semis-finals matchup, their main strategy against Saigon Jokers back then was to just use this slow and steady objective-taking strategy, and we might just see that come out of Taipei Snipers. So 20 minutes in, they have taken out all the outer turrets, and they are sitting at a good, close to 4,000 gold lead. So they don't have to necessarily go for anything too risky. They just need to push it slowly and steadily. Just make sure that they find the right opportunities and then slowly push up their warning line as well. And I think that will work for them.
Yeah, that should work for the Azubu Taipei Snipers, but I don't think Azubu Taipei Snipers is a team that wants to take it slow and steady at this point of time. Just because they have Oriel playing LeBlanc and the fact that God JJ is playing Sivir as well, both these champions actually do well and do very well from gold, because LeBlanc with those items as well as the Magi Soul Stealer, the fact that he has Magi Soul Stealer, come on, Azubu Taipei Snipers wants to fight. And look at that, we would have a fight in the bot lane itself. Oriel taken out extremely low. He does have the blue buff. Mr. Albis as well taken out extremely low. He was thinking of going in for more. He does dodge out this resonating Sonic Wave, resonating strike combo, and is forced to flash away from that one.
Right, so one flash away, and that will be the result that Wins want to have from that one. And you know, a lot of times that we are talking about the overall picture for Taipei Snipers, we have not really talked about the players so far, and I think on the side of Mistake, he has been doing relatively well. He has been, you know, making the right calls to know what skill to mantra at the right time, and because of that, you know, he has finished up that Mikhail's Crucible already, and does feel like he might go for the Frost Queen's Claim as well to make sure that the team just have that superior movement control.
Yeah, that's right. And Azubu Taipei Snipers show why they are the masters of this objective taking, or the buffet strategy, as we have called so far. They have the timing on Dragon. They pick it up relatively easily, and they send Oriel to the top lane to actually respond to the push coming in by Garnet Devil and as well as Nas. And look at what Azubu Taipei Snipers are doing. They will try to force a push soon, because AHQ has been able to take this top in an outer turret for free, and that's going to be very good for AHQ Esports, because in games 1 and games number 2, we do have Prize being caught out. He does get hit by Defocus Resolve, but he will actually be able to walk away from that one. They will make the rotations here. They will try to pick up an inner turret this time, and the answer to this outer turret being taken away on the side of Azubu Taipei Snipers will be some form of map pressure. Look at the lanes being pushed now. They have complete control of the bottom half of the map at this point of time. The wards coming in actually will be able to spot out any sort of sneaky rotations by AHQ, and they are actually doing a 2-3 split push in the mid lane, bot lane as well. We do have the entire bot lane crew actually decide to go back and try to item up, whereas we have Oriel as well as Zonda just being a nuisance in the mid lane and just putting on that pressure. AHQ really needs to step it up soon, and this is one of the times to do it. If we look at the items coming in from both AHQ as well as TPS, I feel that both teams are quite there, and if a team fight does break out, it's going to be who had the better position, who had the better team fight.
Right, and HQ Esports Club, actually, they are making some pretty good rotations here. They wanted to take out the mid-lane turret, and I think if HQ Esports Club, they find the right team fight now, they can still bring this back for themselves, and Oriel now being a little cheeky there and using the Mimic Distortion to try to, you know, just bait out some stuff there, but nevertheless, HQ are quick to respond to that one, so we might actually see our first 5-on-5 team fight here, and if there's anything else, I have to say it's up to Zonda to land a good equalizer to bring that into the favor of Taipei Snipers.
So far, the buffet strategy hasn't really worked out for Azubu Taipei Snipers, or I wouldn't say hasn't really gotten rolling. It has worked out because we've seen Azubu Taipei Snipers just make the correct assessments and go for the good rotations. They've taken out all outer turrets so far. They've taken both the dragons, if I'm not mistaken, and AHQ actually has been responding to this buffet strategy quite well. But I must say that Azubu Taipei Snipers has the flow of the game in their favor at this point of time. They are dictating what AHQ is doing as of now, and we may see a pick in the jungle.
Right, and once again, we do see Mr. Elvis getting caught way out of position in that one. He will go down to Oriel with that Ignite being popped onto him, and Green Tea once again going down. So all the picks that Taipei Snipers they wanted, they found it.
Garnet Devil, where are you going? He doesn't hit that electrocution shot, but that, whoa, the resonating strike coming in from Winds in itself.
Right, and now Zonda might be in a bit of trouble there, so God JJ will dodge out that briefcase with the spell shield. And now Nace getting caught out of position once more. Will he actually gets locked down in that one, and let's feel like Taipei Snipers with the sheer numbers advantage should be able to take out this one. And Garnet Devil actually forcing them back, so makes me eat my words there.
So this is the story of game number 3. Azubu Taipei Snipers wants to get the buffet rolling. AHQ at all points in the game has matched the aggression, or at least has kind of stalled this buffet line from opening. And on top of that, the fact that they have stalled this buffet line from opening, they have managed to take away objectives from themselves. Yes, the bot and the top turrets were traded away in that 2v1 lane swap, but what happened there was that they saw a slight downtime for the side of Azubu Taipei Snipers, and HQ Esports Club sent Garnet Devil as well as Nas to take up the second turret of the game. The gold advantage at this point of time has kind of sneaked up its way from 5,000 to about, whoa, we do have a fight coming in.
Explosive cast and the Dazzle onto Mystic as well, but I think all that HQ wanted to do there is to just, you know, just push Taipei Snipers away from their mid lane. So with that one trade, we do see HQ balancing out the turret count. So all outer turrets have been taken down for both teams here, and because of that, you know, the only goal that separates this two teams is the kill difference, as well as that 2 dragon that Snipers have been able to take for themselves. So in that sense, HQ, they are not totally out of this game yet. So 26 minutes in, they still have, you know, what it takes to come back to this one. They just need some window of opportunity, like maybe a Baron mishap, like what happened in game number 2, to bring themselves back into this one once more.
I don't think a Baron mishap is going to happen this game, Chris, but we may see a Dragon mishap happen in this bot lane because Price is in some sort of danger. We do see Zonda actually rotate down, and now Oriel shows his face.
Right, and now Price will get caught out, and the equalizer as well. Price feels like he has nowhere to run. It does look like he will go down. Oriel will be the one to pick that one up for himself. So once again, just bringing that Soul Stealer charges to a even scarier.
The question is now, will TPS be able to open the buffet lines this time? Because every time they get a kill, they haven't been really able to take on any objective, because HQ has been responding quite well to this one.
Right, and Ness once again getting caught a little bit out of position in that one, but I think the main difference here is that HQ Esports Club, they still have a lot of wave clear on their own, and combine the piercing light together with the barrel rolls from Mr. Elvis, that should be able to somewhat deter away Taipei Snipers here. Because for the most part, even though Snipers, they have a very mobile team composition, they might not necessarily have the most effective sieging composition. They still have that silver pick, but you know, it's not working out for them that well.
Yeah, the silver pickup on the side of God JJ, I feel that it has actually allowed them to make some sort of the initiation, but we may see a fight at Dragon itself. Having Gragas on that side itself, but we do have Nas getting caught out.
Right, and Ness will be going into the fray there, and the explosive cast actually knocking the team away from the combination of Garnet Devil and Green Tea there. But nevertheless, Ness now picks up 1 kill against Zonda there, so they lose a dragon, but they managed to pick up 1 kill in the process. And with that numbers advantage, it feels like this is HQ Esports Club's chance to try to push for the turret, as that is what they're doing now. 5 men collapsing down to this turret. They will pick up for the very first time a turret advantage over Taipei Snipers, and this is the window of opportunity that they are looking for.
Okay, what happened in that fight was that I feel that Azubu Taipei Snipers kind of stayed a little bit too long there in the territory of AHQ. They managed to pick up 2 kills in the jungle itself. They weren't able to pick up any objectives. So going on full buffet style, what the Azubu Taipei Snipers decided to do is that, okay, every time we pick up kills, we should take objective. We can't take a tower this time. We are all relatively low, so let's go for Dragon and just back away. AHQ Esports just responds to that because they know that Azubu Taipei Snipers are just a hungry team. They want to get their buffet strategy rolling. They know that they can't take turret. Hence, since Dragon is live, they will be going for Dragon. They meet Azubu Taipei Snipers at Dragon and they pick up a kill onto Zonda. Following that, they pick up the middle inner turret because it was a fact that Azubu Taipei Snipers have used their cooldowns in that previous fight and they were all low as well.
Right, and I think the other aspect is that actually before that we do see Green Tea getting caught out by Oriel there, and now Green Tea getting sniped down with Wince kicking him in the face there. So once again, Green Tea getting caught out in a position where they don't want to be in, and Mistake speeding his team out, and a great equalizer will split HQ Esports Club apart. Mistake now having the tether onto Mr. Albis there. It does feel like TPS wants to fight this out. The Carlin gets popped as well. Does feel like Taipei Snipers will force HQ Esports Club away from this jungle territory, and they are not done yet. Wince wants to jump into the fight there, and does feel like, yeah, they're just gonna do so, and a little breathing space for both teams. Zonda now jumping into the fray with the Flame Spitter as well, and like you mentioned, you know, they pick up the kill, but they are not able to so far translate that into objectives, and I think that's very important for them to look at.
Yeah, but I also like to point out how Azubu Taipei Snipers likes to play the game. Yes, they haven't really gotten the buffet strategy rolling at this point in time, but you have to notice at almost all points of time in the game, the Azubu Taipei Snipers will always have the lanes pushing in their favor. Look at the huge minion wave up in the top. Now what AHQ has to do is send someone to respond to that one. There's no teleport on the side of AHQ, and this is that short window of opportunity for Azubu Taipei Snipers to initiate on a 4v5 situation with the man advantage. Either that, or they rotate to the person actually going for that free lane farm, and this might be what they're doing here.
Right, almost feel like they might want to go for their blue buff instead, and with the amount of speed ups that Taipei Snipers have, it does feel like, you know, they might be able to catch on to that one, but in the proximity advantage that HQ has, they are able to somewhat back off from that, and I think the key point to look at is the warding coming in from Taipei Snipers. Very aggressive warding. Just look at the amount of wards just dropped down all throughout the map, and who says vision walls are gone?
That's right.
Who says vision walls are gone?
We will see that vision control or vision assertion being actually asserted, or, well, I can't use the same word twice, but anyway, the vision wars, like you said, Azubu Taipei Snipers have that vision control and they're asserting their dominance in this game just because they have that vision. If they are able to kind of catch out the rotations of AHQ Esports at this point of time, they will be able to pick up some objectives. But I have to say, AHQ Esports, they are reading Azubu Taipei Snipers like a book. Yes, Azubu Taipei Snipers are forcing AHQ to make these rotations, but AHQ have been making the correct rotations. We saw earlier, Prides actually go up to try to get that big minion wave. I said that Azubu Taipei Snipers will either look for a 4v5 fight or pick away Prides, who is the one that's pushing in the top lane. Pride sensing this, he decides to back off, and the rest of AHQ actually rotates towards where Prides is. So if Azubu Taipei Snipers actually decide to go for a fight, they will find themselves in a 4v5 situation for at most 5 seconds, because Prides will just be around the corner.
Right, it does feel like Taipei Snipers once again wants to go in for the fight, and on the hunt gets popped, and it does feel like this time around HQ is bringing the fight to them. Oriel actually picking up the kill onto Naz there, and Wince kicking Garnet Devil away from the terrain there, and they are giving chase onto Mr. Albis there. Wince is not gonna go down in the process, so a great pick for themselves once more, and I feel like that's the other aspect that they are excelling so well in this game so far. So every single member
is so low.
Yeah, every single member is so low on Taipei Snipers. Well, someone just call in Carters, please, to just press R to win.
There's no Carters in this game, Chris, but yes, if he actually brings Requiem, I think it will be Requiem for Azubu Taipei Snipers. But no Carters this game. Azubu Taipei Snipers managed to pick up a kill, but look at how HQ kind of responds. They managed to get the entire team of Azubu Taipei Snipers low, and they actually do a little bit of buffet strategy on their own. The replay will be coming up at this point of time. So let's take a look at that fight here. We do see HQ actually make the initiation. The equalizer will actually try to zone out some of the team, but you know, Green Tea and Ghana was just going to ignore most of them. The explosive cast comes out, knocks God JJ back and prevents some of the upfront damage coming in. Look at what Wince decides to do. Wince here kicks Garnet Devil out of the fight, and he tries to zone Mr. Albis, Green Tea, as well as Garnet Devil away. And here we have Prides in the backline, tries to disrupt the team of Azubu Taipei Snipers as they are taken down extremely low. Wins now being caught up in a 1v4 situation will have to back off, and Azubu Taipei Snipers will also back off from that entire fight in itself. So the only kill that's happened actually goes on to Nas, dies as Dr. Mundo, but both teams really matching each other's aggression. Pride zoning out all the 4 carries of Azubu Taipei Snipers, Wins zoning out the 3 carries that are still alive on the side of AHQ Esports.
Right, and it feels like, with the game progressing so far ahead into, in terms of time, HQ Esports Club, they just need to find that one engage that goes into their favor for them to make the turnaround happen. And, in the meantime, while the replay was going on, we did see Taipei Snipers take away the Dragon once more. And it does feel like for once, HQ Esports Club, they have the mid wave pushing in their advantage, especially up in the top lane. And having cleared out the mid wave as well, mid lane wave as well. And now we do see Green Tea once again getting caught out in a very unfavorable condition here, but nevertheless, with the backup of his teammates, he is able to somewhat escape, as we do see Zonda almost melting down to the explosive cast there. But, this time around, HQ Esports Club, they turned the tables around. They forced Zonda away from the top lane turret, so they will be able to take out the turret for themselves. So 5-3 in terms of turret count, they will be able to extend their ward line, make more aggressive picks, and I think this is the way to go for HQ Esports Club.
You know what happens in between lunch and dinner during a buffet? The restaurant gets closed. This is that point of time right now. Lunch is over for the Azubu Taipei Snipers. They have taken the 3 turrets already, and HQ says, this is our time. Our restaurant's closed, you're not going to take any more objectives away from us.
Yes, but this is the question, will the dinner line be open at all?
Yeah, that is the exact question. We are 36 minutes into the game. Azubu Taipei Snipers have a 6,000 gold lead, slightly less than 6,000 gold lead, but the question is, will AHQ's restaurant be open once again, like you said, Chris? If AHQ can continue to prevent this bleed from happening, it's been about 6,000 gold for a good 10 minutes or so, and you're able to kind of win out in team fights, which they really haven't done just yet. They should be able to, after they win a team fight, go for objectives, because now they have the global objectives, or at least the turrets, in their favor in itself.
Right, and once again, it feels like in this game, as similar to game number 2, it might be a 6-item brawl to the death. And now we look at some of the items that some of the players have picked up for themselves. Oriel sitting comfortably still on their Magi Soul Stealer. Let's take a look at how many stacks that is sitting on right now. That is actually 8 stacks, so not too bad for himself, getting the money back. And he is 7-1-3, gonna be finishing that to a death. Can feel like now Pride's the tankiest member on the side of HQ Esports Club just got taken down to a quarter of his HP.
Yeah, from one spell rotation coming out from Oriel, and that is something very troubling. The moment he gets any more stacks, once it hits about 12 or 15 stacks, no one is going to survive the burst combination from Oriel with his Deathfire Grasp. That
is a very, terrifying thought indeed. And once again, HQ Esports Club, they know for a fact that even though they are, somewhat down in terms of gold, they still can come back into this one, and having that 5 turrets advantage for themselves compared to that 3, they should be able to make something happen soon. Just feel like HQ Esports Club need to go for the fight once again. They need a similar fight to what they did up in the top lane.
Okay, so far, for about the previous 4 or so minutes, it's just been a stalemate dance by both HQ and the Azubu Taipei Snipers. All of them have hit certain item thresholds in which they want to go and fight, so let's just see who is the aggressor here, because a fight might just break out here in the mid lane.
Right, we might not see that fight happening just of yet, but with that one rotation, we did see Taipei Snipers actually.
Mr. Elvis just got taken down by Oriel in the bot lane, so that rotation coming in gives him another 2 stacks. Oriel has that Magi Soul Stealer up to 10, I believe, at this point of time.
Right, and it happened so fast that even the camera couldn't catch up to there. And now Pride's getting zoned away from Wins there, and with the Equalizer getting popped down as well, Wins will join in the fray, and he will take down Ness in the process as well. Wins is on a rampage here. Price now has to run for his life here, and it does feel like Taipei Snipers looking for the dinner line that they are looking for. God JJ takes down Garadev. Oh, double kill for him now. Does look like they will take down the mid lane inhibitor for themselves, and things just got way out of hand also quickly. It just escalated way too fast for HQ Esports Club there, as Taipei Snipers now with that commanding lead, they will open a doorway to victory for themselves, taking out the mid lane inhibitor.
Okay, going for this Baron buff at this point of time is going to be quite dangerous for the side of Azubu Taipei Snipers. They were picking out the Baron, but they may decide to catch Price out as he tries to check for this Baron attempt here. So it's going to be a good call for Azubu Taipei Snipers. The death timers aren't long enough for them to do a safe Baron. They decide to back off for this one. Price is going to clear out the vision ward that's in the Baron pit at this point of time. Azubu Taipei Snipers just extended their 6,000 gold lead at 36 minutes in the game, which is now an almost slightly less than 11,000 gold lead, 39 minutes. So within that 3 minutes, they managed to pick up 4 kills against AHQ. The inner turret was taken down, the inhibitor turret was taken down, and the inhibitor as well going down for the side of AHQ. So Azubu Taipei Snipers, I feel, has that commanding gold lead that they were looking for. And Death Firegrass, Rabadon's Death Cap on Oriel in his LeBlanc, he's just going to deal a whole ton of damage.
Right, he has 654 AP. That's a whole lot of damage on his own end. And you know, now he is split pushing on his own. He's not too concerned about what the team actually, he will actually port back. So he makes me eat my words once again. And HQ Esports Club, they look like they want to make something happen now, gathering up into the mid lane.
Yeah, so
yeah,
the sieging coming in from AHQ itself is gonna just be the wave clear of Garnet level, and hopefully Pride and Nash tries to disrupt the back line in itself. Green team will probably just be that walking aura totem that Taric always is. We are playing on a 3.14 patch, so the Taric nerfs haven't really set in just yet. But look at this. Azubu Taipei Snipers managed to kind of fend away the aggression of AHQ in the turret itself, and Oriel is sent on the split pushing duty. And the disengage potential from On the Hunt as well as the mantra from Karma's E will allow TPS to just kind of fend away the aggression from AHQ, allows Oriel to continue to split push, and it doesn't seem that AHQ has any sort of answer just yet. They really need to trade turret for turret.
Right, let's feel like Oriel is, you know, happy to split push on himself, and does look like Green Key is the one to be picked off. And mind you, this is a 5v4 situation. Pride now gets, you know, melted down by God JJ in the process, as well as the 4 remaining members of Taipei Snipers now chase on to HQ Esports Club there. Mr. Albis body slamming himself way into the fray there. Gardner Devil wants to pick up a kill off the mistake. He will do so with the Ardent Blast, but at what cost? Oriel is already knocking on the doorsteps of HQ Esports Club there. Naze is the only one remaining. It will take some time for him to recall, and you know, he's
actually taking the blue
I think he has almost just said that he's almost giving up the game there. And it does look like that is the last Nexus turret that stands in the way of Taipei Snipers there, with everyone just moving into the fray here. Looks like Taipei Snipers should be able to pick up this victory just way over 42 minutes of this game. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your finalists for the GPL winter season, Taipei Snipers, will move into the grand finals for it to be a grand Azubu face down.
That's right, both the sister teams will be matching up against each other in the grand final. So what this tells me, Chris, is that Azubu Taipei Snipers is the dominant force coming in to this game. They took game 1 cleanly. Game 2, AHQ gave them quite a hard time coming in and lost the fight after they decided to go for a nasty Baron. Game number 3, however, what we have is that AHQ manages to kind of stop Azubu's Taipei Snipers from actually rolling the ball, and they managed to keep the gold deficit at about 6,000 gold for 40 minutes. And that one fight in the one pick coming out from Orion in the bottom lane takes down Mr. Albis, and following that they managed to pick up the inner mid turret, the inhibitor as well, and that just kind of snowballed the game for Azubu Taipei Snipers in itself. So after having that 10,000 gold lead, all that's going on at this point of time is that Azubu Taipei Snipers just take that game and the momentum into their favor and just beat a 4v5 fight in the mid lane in itself.
Right, and for the most part, even though I felt that, you know, the pace slowed down for Taipei Snipers in the most part, but you know, they have been making the right picks, making the right calls, and you know, they always go for either Green Tea or Mr. Albis. They catch them out of position and then subsequently finally translate that into objectives for themselves. And you know, congratulations to Taipei Snipers here tonight for picking up the win over, HQ Esports Club to move into the grand finals where they will face up against their sister team, Taipei Assassins, to try to fight it out for their 80,000 grand prize.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a circuit points as well, Chris. So Azubu Taipei Snipers and the Azubu Taipei Assassins will be flying down to Singapore to play the grand finals in the Garena Stadium. And the third and fourth placing will be happening against the Saigon Jokers as well as HQ Esports. Don't forget that they will be playing for prize money as well as circuit points.